Hello, good evening and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. And as Deontay has said in the chat, greetings everyone. Make sure you smash the like button, people. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've surpassed 4,700 on the road to 5k. So please do help spread the word of the channel. Like, subscribe and get your comments in. We are talking all things Aston Villa versus Manchester United. The game that we all look forward to, or do we look forward to? We always look at it as a way of thinking, can we get our own back? Can we beat these? And to go through it all with me, the returning Kev. It's been too long, mate. How are you doing?
I think the last time I was on a podcast, I think that we were still in the European Union. So, no, I mean, it's not been quite that long. Yeah, mate, I'm good. I'm good now. I think I said to you pre-pod, I'm 82% now, I feel. So, but yeah, I think I had COVID. I had like some kind of flu, but without the temperature. I was just wiped out for about. Funny, you know, I probably didn't help it by going to Wickham and Ipswich away, but
no, you probably didn't, mate.
Wickham was the first morning I felt a little bit dicey, and then Ipswich where I took my lad and he's not been to a game this season. So, but yeah, you know what? I was desperate to come on to talk about obviously the Bayern Munich game and the wonderful victory that was. But no, I'm okay tonight. I'm back from Phoenix from the Flames, and I'm ready to chat all things Man United tomorrow.
Well, Engine number 9's missed you, mate.
Miss you.
And CC, welcome back, Kevin. Hope you're feeling much improved.
Thanks a lot.
Gene, hi both, and everyone. Good to see you back, Kev. Hope you're feeling better. So the Villa Park Pod family are so glad you are back, mate. And we had Jacob, who we've got to dive straight in. Someone's got to win the Champions League, haven't they, Kev?
This is the way it works. If you think about all the teams, right? All the teams that are there, at the end, it goes down to one. Denmark 92 European Championships didn't even qualify. For those that don't know this amazing fact, it was only because of the war in Yugoslavia that they got put into the competition. They won it! Greece 2004. I was in my last year as a holiday rep in working in Zante, and Greece basically they thought they'd get out of the group. They won the tournament. And I remember a team called Leicester City, the greatest ever sporting achievement. Yeah, nearly got relegated the season before. So, is it likely? No. Is it possible? Yeah. And I think with our manager and the quality of some of our players, and it's, you know, competition football, you know, anything's possible. Someone has got to win the competition. Why can't it be us?
This is the Kev we all know and love. This is the Kev we've missed. And Kev, you would have been in full optimistic mood before, during, and after Wednesday night's victory against Bayern Munich. So let's take a trip back down memory lane. I think someone, PJJ, has said, how many times have people watched the Duran goal? So I think we're going to talk about it in context with Manchester United. But first of all, just sum up your feelings after that victory, after that night.
Just incredible pride. I know there's been a bit of, you know, talk around the club lately, you know, in terms of obviously the ticket pricing. We're talking about some of the service at the club. It's been a bit of negativity, and it's been a bit of a shame because obviously this has been an amazing period in our history. But, you know, we beat Young Boys in the first game, you know, on a bit of a pitch, you know, which isn't great for us, but we got through the end. Great performance. But this was the test. This was the one, this Bayern Munich team that hadn't lost a game for, 7 years? 40-odd games, hadn't lost a game in the Champions League group stages.
Who was the manager who beat him?
Mr. Unai Emery. And, you know, it's got all of the 1982, you know, all of the feeling and the kind of the aura around the club about that. We lose that absolute legend, Gary Shaw recently. And it just feels so poignant that we're playing Bayern. Now, on top of all of that, and I did put out a tweet afterwards saying, like Carlos and Konza were looking terrible. He can't keep a clean sheet. Is Philogene good enough? Like, can Duran do it in the big games? I just felt incredible pride watching that game. Incredible pride watching this team. Shame I couldn't be there. I had to say to my lad, we've seen Man City and Arsenal victories. We were there when Traore bent that 87th of 1 minute in the top corner to pretty much like cement our Conference League, return to Europe. But just watching that team under that manager take on one of the absolute giants of European football. I think they're 6 times European Cup Champions League winners.
Yeah.
And to beat them. And do you know what? Upamecano should have been sent off for that one tackle on Ollie alone because he was last man. The combination of the two is yellows. Ramsey didn't need to be offside for that goal. And they didn't really have that many chances. Elise bent
not
one.
till right at the end.
Yeah, so I just, you know what? This team that, obviously, if you're an Aston Villa fan over the years, you've known that we're a sleeping giant, but I just think it's put us back on the map. So I just thought it was splendid, absolutely amazing. And what I loved about it, we've got a little memories and we've got little moments, and I didn't get to go, but so I have my kids on a Wednesday, so I let both of them, my 8-year-old, 10-year-old, watch the first half, and then come on up to bed now, half time, watch the second half tomorrow. My lad turns to me and goes, "Can I come back downstairs?" And I'm like, okay. So basically, he goes upstairs. She doesn't watch his back. My daughter should be right annoyed with me. I have to do the whole like, good night, kids, and he like just a bit of like throwing his voice, and then all of a sudden he's like, I have to like go downstairs while he does his footsteps slightly lighter than mine. But just to share that moment with him where he's been a bit naughty staying up because his sister doesn't know. And then we looked at each other and we couldn't celebrate too loudly because he would have woken up his sister. So we're just kind of holding each other and going, when Ram banged it in, it was just brilliant. And what scenes. I wish I'd been there. The noise from the ground. Too. But yeah, fantastic, mate.
Awesome. And now we know Villa fans, supporters, as all the comments have said, we've watched all the highlights. Cece said she's watched every podcast, every match reaction, and why not? But there's one man that would have been making sure that the team would have put that to bed on that night and fully focus on the upcoming game, which any other time, any other team, we'd have been like, right, we're going to take this win and into that next game and we're going to win. There's no doubt about it. But there's always that thing with Aston Villa and Manchester United. And like I say, the man who would be fully focused on on this game coming on Sunday would be Unai Emery. And we've just got to get that win tomorrow. Yeah,
if we've got real designs and being the team that we are now, I think, then, and proving what we're all about, a Man United team that are on the ropes, we've got to beat them. It's amazing to think in my whole lifetime of being, cognizant of the world, that this is probably the first time ever we've been favourites to beat Manchester United. Manchester United, who we didn't beat for, what was it, best part of 30 years, was it? 30-odd years. Other than, I think there was the away win at Old Trafford when Gabby headed it in. But, we couldn't beat him. We had memories of cup games where we'd be 2-0 up and they'd turn it around to 3-2. Getting absolutely smashed. I remember going up to Old Trafford and losing, I think 4-0. Ronaldo did a back heel, like just home away. I remember I was there when Scholes smashed the volley off the bar. I was in the whole end that night, and wow, what a finish! Just so many situations. And yet last season we do the double over Arsenal. We beat Man City, and we didn't really try in the second game. So I think we've got a 100% record last season against Man City and Arsenal, in my opinion, because we played loads of changes, didn't we, for the Etihad game?
Yeah.
We beat them home and away, though, Arsenal. We lost home and away to Man United. And 2-0 up at Old Trafford, played really well the second game. There's just something about that team where if we were playing Man City the weekend, I'd be more confident.
That's it.
Because
that's it.
What they do. And Ten Hag always pulls out from the fire at the last minute. He gets out of the frying pan at the last minute, doesn't he?
Exactly. I'll come on to that in a sec. Just some comments. Deontay said, as great as that Bayern win was on Wednesday, the Villa boys can't afford to have a European hangover tomorrow. PJJ's confident we're going to batter them. Rachel says she hates Man United. Jacob, Ten Hag wins tomorrow and keeps his job and lets us win on the final day as a nice gesture, which allows Villa to win the league. Well, I might take that, but I want to win tomorrow.
I like the story with that, though. I like the way he's going with that
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah. But this is the thing, right? This is the thing. No matter how bad or how dire the straits are at Manchester United, he gets that Harry Maguire equaliser in the 95th minute against Porto to kind of hang on to his job. All of the talk around, Jim Ratcliffe saying he doesn't make the decision. Then there's some sort of meeting apparently planned for Tuesday with the hierarchy. It's all set up for, and we've beaten Bayern Munich. We're on this crest of a wave. We've not lost in sort of 6 games, and it's all set up for us, for Man United to sort of fluke a win from somewhere, and that's what worries me.
Yeah, and obviously we've got a few injury concerns. So, look, any team can beat anybody, right? We know that.
Yeah.
And we know there's been a bit of a hoodoo. I do think we have to remember that Emery did break that hoodoo. Sorry, I forgot about that one, obviously. He broke that hoodoo in his very first game in charge, and that was like we'd never seen anything like that before. And what a start to our era under this manager, that one team we can never beat. We beat so handsomely 3-1 in our first game with him in charge. I am backing us because you know what? We've only lost to Arsenal this season, and we got a draw disappointingly, in a game we were leading at Ipswich. But other than that, we've won every single game. We can't keep a clean sheet unless it's in the most prestigious competition in the world, and we keep a clean sheet with ease. But,
2 games in a row.
Yeah, but we can't keep a clean sheet even against Wickham. Wickham must be buzzing. We scored against Villa. Bayern Munich couldn't. But I just think now, even with a couple of changes, you look at players like Philogene coming in and performing like he did. I just think the momentum we've got from that win, they're on the ropes, and I just think we can get at them. I'd like to see a more front foot positive performance, because obviously the last 2 games at home, Everton, Wolves, it's been chasing our tails. I'd like to see the kind of performance we had when we beat him 3-1, where we come out from out of the blocks and we just get at them, because they are vulnerable. They let a 2-goal lead slip in about 25 minutes the other day. So, I know they salvaged it at the end, but and let's be clear, their first 2 goals shouldn't really have gone in. The Porto keeper was poor.
Yeah.
They've got some potent weapons. Garnacho's a good player. Rashford, when he fancies it, he's a good player. Fernandes can do things. They've got some good players, but we are a better team. We've got a better manager. We're at home, and we're chasing down an opportunity to go 2 points behind the leaders in the Premier League after 7 games, and I think we're going to take it.
Well, look, I hope you're right. Chippy Bailey said we have to beat them tomorrow. Rachel said it doesn't matter how good Villa are or how Man United are, they just find some way to beat us. CC Rogers revealed in a post-game interview that Emery let them celebrate in the change room and settled them down and talked about the United game. Focus. Keith, we need to take the momentum into tomorrow's game. Our bench is deeper than ever. We can do it. Jacob, United looked awful all season on defensive transition. Villa look unreal on offensive transition. That being said, United win 3-1. Aurelio Gomez, glad Ten Hag is still there. Would feel worse if they had a new interim manager or boss. Yeah, Lewis celebrated the 3rd Porto goal. Definitely. CC said it's time. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, and you mentioned it before in terms of getting off to a fast start, and I mentioned this with Tyrone, who's from the Never a Foul podcast. So if you get to watch the opposition preview, please have a check out of that, because he's really good and he spoke really highly of Villa. But I said the way that Manchester United are at the moment, if we can get off to a really fast start, if we can get an early goal, then you almost feel that their confidence is so fragile that it would kind of break, and then we could go on to get 1 or 2 more. You looked at the Tottenham game, such an easy goal for Brennan Johnson to score, and after that there was literally only one winner, and you do feel like that could be a situation for Villa to take advantage of if we can get off to that fast start.
Yeah, and I actually think it wouldn't really matter whether we were home or away at the moment against Man United, because I think you go goal up at Old Trafford, it's going to start to turn a little bit, isn't it? But being at home, if the fans can be up for it, and I'm sure they will be, a goal early on, I think that the fans are going to be loud and they're going to know it. The thing for me with Man United as well, which you would never say this about Man United teams over the years, they look so vulnerable in midfield. Their midfield, even a guy's obviously taking time to get used to the Premier League, but Ericsson, Casemiro, they for me lost arguably their best midfielder in McTominay. They let him go.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was always good for a goal. Where's their goals coming from midfield? There's no one scoring from their midfield. And I just think that if Onana is fit, he's carrying a knock, and that he's a bit 50-50, that if he's fit, even if he's not and Barkley comes in, I really still think we've got enough to get at them. The likes of, obviously, Rodgers marauding forward, Tielemans, I think we've got enough in there. And they're just vulnerable, but we need to be brave and bold. We need to go at it. It's a shame we're probably not going to have Bailey, because I think Bailey's the kind of player at home against Man United and even JJ, where you can kind of take the game to them. Both of them have had success in recent years. JJ, obviously, in the game where Coutinho made his debut and we got the 2-2 draw. Bailey got the first, didn't he, in the 3-1 win. So, but even without them, we've got players like, obviously, Philogene can come in. You've got Duran could start. You've got Barkley. You've got Matson. Maybe you can fit him in. So we've got some really good options.
Well, you've just literally taken the words out of my mouth. I was going to talk some players who could actually feature off the back of Unai Emery's comments. He said that Onana is a potential, but Ramsey and Bailey, I don't think it looks like they'll start. And to be honest, I wouldn't want him to start, particularly on Bailey, because I think Bailey has to be at least 95% fit to be anything effective at the moment. Yeah. So, looking at Jadon Philogene, I mean, he had a fantastic game on Wednesday night, grew into the game as well, started to look more attacking, and I would probably put him similar to Amad Diallo I don't know if it's Amad Diallo, but Amad, who plays for Manchester United, really skillful player, and I would put him in that same bracket, someone who has almost burst onto scene, done well on loan, and then come back and got himself into the first team. So I think he could be a really key player for us if he starts tomorrow. And then you mentioned Ian Matson, and he can play in that more advanced position, and he's got the pace as well. So similar to, say, a Jacob Ramsey, he could be a real threat as well. So I don't really see any weakness really with those two coming into the side against a team like Manchester United, who are quite slow in that midfield area.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some good options. We haven't seen him yet really shuffle the pack, have we, in the Premier League? Really, it's been pretty consistent. We've talked about this a few times. Is he going to switch in a Digne out switching a Matson for a Digne out? Is he going to play Onana instead of Watkins some games? But we haven't seen that happen so far. It hasn't been something that has been. Maybe it's because it's early in the season. We've only played 6 Premier League games so far, so maybe that's why it hasn't happened. But I haven't sent you I don't think I've done a predicted lineup yet this season in terms of sending it to you, but I know what my team is. I've done one separately, so I can give you my team. But
we'll check it in a sec, because I've got FOTMob. Then they've done a pretty good one, so we'll have a look in a second and see. Yeah, we'll see how your thought process links to it. But Christos said their defending structure is non-existent. They leave too many spaces, but we've got to be up for it to put on a performance and take the game to them. We can't just sit and wait. And Deontay said the opposition preview was great. Yeah, do check it out, guys. It's really good, and I'm really enjoying doing those in the away end opposition previews, because at the moment Villa are getting, like you said, we're on football's radar at the moment. So lots of people take notice of what we're doing. So it's really interesting, kind of getting other teams' perspectives. But talking about United, and I mentioned about their midfield being quite slow, players that we've got that can take advantage. But you also touched on the fact that they have got players who can hurt us, and when we talk about moments and players stepping up in moments, Manchester United seem to still have that. You mentioned Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Garnacho, Højlund, who'll probably start tomorrow, has got a pretty decent record against us. They will look to probably hang in the game and stay in the game and wait for one of those players to step up in a big moment, and that's what we've really got to watch out for. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, from your perspective, who are you worried about in the Man United team?
Well, Højlund has got a good record against us, and I don't think Diego Carlos does well against that type of centre-back. That type of centre-forward, sorry. I think he does better against a higher profile, or someone who he's got to do a specific job on, like Harry Kane, like Erling Haaland, like Gabriel Jesus or Kai Havertz for Arsenal. Like if he knows a lot about them and they are their focal point, you know, he's done pretty well again. He would do pretty well against a Calvert-Lewin, for example, but actually he had a good game. But you know what I mean? Like if it's a physical battle and he's given that one specific task, he'll be fine. But players who play in the channels or drop off into midfield, I don't think he does particularly well against. So I'm worried about Højlund, and I worry about Garnacho because I think he's an impact player. And in the last couple of games, we've sort of struggled against him. Like at Old Trafford, I seem to remember him changing the game when we were 2-0 up. So those are the two I worry about. Bruno, I'm not so worried about. I'm going to say this now, famous last words. But I'm not as worried about him. I think the penalty he got, that's like 4 years ago now. I don't really think he's had too many other big moments against us. But yeah, and Ahmad's a good player. I really like him. So he could be dangerous. But I just think that we'll have the legs on them in midfield. You know, I don't know if it matters too much whether they play Ugarte, whether they play Casemiro, whether they play Eriksen. I just think that with our running power in midfield, regardless of who we play, I just think we'll have a bit too much for them in those areas.
Yeah, I agree. And I think even the other options we haven't mentioned outside of that, like a Xerxes, I think, you know, hasn't done a huge amount. I don't really care about the kiss of death and jinxing it. I'm just going to say what I think. You know, Delict, you can see he struggled so far. You know, he's obviously a good defender. He plays for some big clubs, but some big clubs have let him go. You know, Mainoo's a good player. I think he's faded a little bit in terms of, you know, he burst on the scene, but I still think he's a quality player. Mason Mount's done nothing. You know, Casemiro.
I think he's injured again, Mount. I think he's injured again.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Mazraoui looks all right, but doesn't look like he's, you know, he's amazing. I just don't really have any fear about them. We have to approach it in the usual respectful way. We'll take them seriously because they've obviously got some assets. They're pretty good on set pieces, aren't they? United. That's the thing, which is why I'm really hopeful Onana is fit. You know, it's great to see Tyrone Mings back in action today. I don't know if you're going to mention that, but great to see Mings back, getting 45 minutes. But it's a kind of game I think would be good for him. Get him and Onana in there, I'd feel a lot better about things. But listen, they might get a set piece and get a few opportunities. We've got to, I think, get enough opportunities to have the game put to bed. So if they do get a goal from a set piece, we win it 3-1 or 4-1 somewhere.
Yeah. Let's have a look at a predicted lineup that's on FOTMob, because I think it's pretty much what I would have said it was. So they've got Martinez in goal, obviously, Digne, Torres, Carlos and Konsa, Tielemans, Onana, Maatsen, Rodgers, Philogene and Watkins. And then looking at Man United's, they've got Ugarte, Eriksen, Fernandes, Garnacho, Rashford, Xerxes. So what would you agree with that Villa team, or would you make any changes to that?
So what I went for was maybe a little bit left field this, right? So the back five is, Emi, Konsa, Carlos, Pau, Digne, right? Onana, Tielemans, Rodgers ahead. And then I went for Watkins with Buendia and Philogene either side. I got a feeling that Buendia...
Interesting with Buendia.
He's going to start soon, I think. And, you know, he's obviously played a few minutes and he's made a few cameos. And is it time for him with a Bailey and a Ramsey likely to be out? Is it time for him to get an opportunity to play? I think maybe it is.
I didn't even think about him. I maybe thought you might have said put Duran up top with Ollie.
I still think as an option off the bench, I think he's just, you know, lightning 35 minutes of him. You know, I think that time will come. I don't know. I mean, there's so many options that we could have. You mentioned Tielemans and Digne, and maybe he plays it like that, you know, and plays Digne a bit. Sorry, not Tielemans. So Maatsen and Digne, and maybe he plays Maatsen a bit further ahead. You could put Barkley in there. You know, it might be Onana's not fit, and then maybe he has to think about it differently. You could play Barkley a bit further forward, possibly. And I thought maybe you might put Rodgers wide and play Barkley maybe in that role. So there is options, basically,
Yeah, Maatsen's a very, very versatile player. He can play right back, he can play left back, he can play left midfield. He's played centre midfield before as well. So, yeah, he can play anywhere. I mean, a few people have talked about the Duran-Ollie strike partnership, but I just think at the moment, if it's not broke, don't try and force it. Don't try and fix it. Ollie Watkins does brilliantly for 65, 70 minutes, and then depending on what the game situation's like, you can either take Ollie off and bring Duran on for impact because he's already ran the centre-backs ragged, or you can have them both up front as a different option. So I don't know if I would play it from the start because I'm not sure our midfield is strong enough yet in terms of being able to cope with, what would probably be a straight 4-4-2, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I also don't hate the idea, particularly with JJ and Bailey likely to be out, or at least maybe not fully fit. Maybe they'll be in the squad. I don't hate the idea of having Watkins as one of the wide forwards, Duran in the middle, and maybe Philly on the other side, because I think we talk a lot about Watkins wants to be the main man and do all his work around the box, and be the number 9. But if you look at other teams, we make the argument, don't we, that we think we've got the best two strikers in terms of Duran and Watkins in terms of pure number 9s. But look at Liverpool with a Salah, with a Jota, with a Diaz. Players that are wide forwards. Those type of players. Look at Arsenal with a Trossard and a Saka and a Havertz and all these different players. Let's be a bit more creative with what we're doing. You could play a kind of a hybrid of those players being, Watkins has played wide before. I know it's not his position now, but I think as a wide forward, being a clear attacking option, it's a way of fitting Duran in the team. I don't think you're putting Duran anywhere else. Although, to be fair to Duran, he's doing his work around the pitch. I noticed
he is.
Against Bayern, he was getting his foot in, but he's not. Yeah, would you put Duran in the Onana role, basically, if Onana's not fit?
But I just felt that Watkins had softened them up. I felt Watkins he'd laid the groundwork for.
Totally agree.
So I think that is a situation that we'll take advantage of further on into the season as well. However, Duran will be, he wouldn't be the striker that he is. He wouldn't be a professional footballer if he wasn't knocking on Unai Emery's door, so to speak, saying, "Oi, I need to start games." So yeah.
I wouldn't start him. But I can see how it could be an option, basically.
Yeah, definitely. PJJ said, I'd play Barkley at some point. Jacob said, think Rodgers' physical profiling between their midfield and defence will be a huge asset for tomorrow. PJJ said, Jaden starts for sure. KTFF Walker says, Buen dia, great shout. Rachel said, a lot of people are calling for Duran and Ollie up top. Will says, Maatsen has to start. Michael said, Jaden left, Rodgers right, Duran and Ollie. So that's a nice attacking line up there. Jacob, Martinez, Digne, Torres, Konsa, Cash, Onana, Tielemans, Maatsen, Watkins, Rodgers and Jaden. I think that's what FOTMAB had it on. Rachel, please like...
Sorry, you go.
Is who? Oh, yeah. Sorry, he's got Cash in there, hasn't he? Actually, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because he was back in training. So Cash, if Cash is fit, I'd probably have Cash in, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But then Carlos had a great game the other night.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah. But Cash, it'd be good to have... He was on the bench, wasn't he, the other night? So, it's good having those options, definitely. Please like, subscribe, and follow the podcast if you haven't already. There you go. Listen to Rachel, everyone. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And, yeah, if you want to become a member as well, click the link at the top of the chat. And you can become an official Villa Park Pod follower for just $1.99 a month and help support the content that we provide. Paul says, Maatsen and Jaden both good at tracking back when playing against a wide midfield. You got another great shout there, Kev. I don't know who that was. Maybe Watkins out wide. And what else have we got? Oh, yes, I saw that. Did anyone see the report that Man United want to sign Power for $42 million?
I don't know if you saw the tweet that I put out in response to it.
Yes, something about Scarlett Johansson. You love mentioning her in various tweets, Kev.
Quite a fan of her. Yeah, so the article was, a sensational report has claimed Man United want Pau Torres from Aston Villa, and I put an equally sensational report has claimed that I'm also interested in a winter romance with Scarlett Johansson. So, if we're going to start talking shit about stuff that's not going to happen, then I'm going to play the game as well. Just bullshit, isn't it? I mean, why would anyone go to Man? I don't even think our cast-offs go to Man United at the moment.
Well, it was interesting as well because all of the reports, obviously with then Eric Ten Haag being under pressure, the pundits started to talk about, Man United should go for Unai Emery. It's like, why would Unai Emery go to Manchester United? Like, what in the world would possess him to go to Manchester United?
It's ridiculous. It's the kind of stuff which I saw it again on TalkSport. Talking about, if they came in Man United big club again, absolute nonsense. It's absolute tripe journalism. No logical person now can make that argument that he would go to Man United. We are a better team right now than Man United are. We've got a better structure. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's see if we can set it up. I've got, yeah. Oh, stop it! Listen, I'm getting carried away thinking about it. Would I take her name? Would she take mine? I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, like
Scarlett Tyler.
Sounds good, doesn't it? The T's all linked up together. Anyway, yeah. So where would we live? Anyway, stop it. Yeah, I just think there's no logic to it. There's clubs built around Emery. We've got such success. We've got stability, and Man United haven't got stability. Why would he do that? Why would you do it?
I don't know. It's just tired old kind of headlines. It's still Big Six bias. Like it's amazing how pundits now have to start doing a little bit of work, to try and find out about different teams that might be breaking the status quo. They're buzzing that Chelsea are kind of back now because it means that they don't have to think about any other teams right now. So yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny because now they have got to start thinking about Aston Villa. Oh, great history, big club. But if Man United came calling, they'd still lose their players. It's like, come on, it's finished now. We'll go through the stats in a minute, and I was actually surprised where Manchester United are in the league right now. So why someone would go there, I really don't know. And that's exactly what Michael just said there. What do you think it would actually take for Villa to be considered one of the proper big teams with the media? It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I don't know what it's going to take, but maybe what we're doing right now is going to get us there. Beating the likes of Bayern Munich, beating Man City and Arsenal last season, obviously Arsenal home and away, qualifying for the Champions League. I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I've said it to anyone that will listen. I do not think there is a manager in the world that could have taken us from the post-Gerrard 16th, 17th in the league in basically half a season to Europe, and then the season afterwards with 3 ACL injuries, as well as a host of other injuries as well, to the Champions League. So it's just unbelievable, but it still seems we've got to defend it. It just does feel a bit different in the last couple of weeks. It feels like I even saw TalkSport defending it, saying, everyone's saying like, is this Villa FM? They're not actually on FM, so that's a technical radio thing they need to look at. You get my point. I think they're on medium wave, aren't they? But or DAB. But we're getting a bit more talk in the press. We're a bit more professional, aren't we, in terms of what we're putting out there? And like everything else, you do your talking on the pitch and everything else. Even the facts, right, that we're talking so much in the media about the negative aspect of our club, the pricing, that wouldn't be happening if, like, I don't know, Fulham were overcharging the fans too much. It's happening because we are seen now as a bigger club. That's why there's more scrutiny on us. All we need now to be truly there is like just to have somebody randomly at our training ground one day just talking shit about like what clothes people are wearing. Because when they're just randomly at Chelsea's training ground and Man United's training ground for a whole morning on Sky Sports News, like for what reason?
Pau Torres has bought a new car, or Leon Bailey drives in with new Bentley or something.
Yeah, we did a couple of scandals, maybe not like scandals that upset the team spirit, but Bailey has an affair with one of the Man United players' wives, or just something. Something's going to get in the press. Keep it going. While he's injured, I don't mind while he's injured.
CC said Kev's looking a bit flushed. The fever's coming back, and Scotty UK with his $4.99 super chat says, "Up the Villa, Rich. My wife still says you're cute." Hey, you are. There we go. I've got a fan there. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated for the super chat. Yes, Bear in the Garden said, we're not in London or Manchester exactly. CC said we do have to win something to be fair. Why would they take us seriously? But we do have a lot of media loving our journey and Emery. Yeah, that's the next step, isn't it? To win something as well. Yeah. But I think the annoyance is the comparisons that are made with Villa, Arteta and Emery, Man United, Villa, Emery. Yeah, it's just as if like they'll come in and just take the infrastructure that we've built here, which is just interesting to kind of laugh at, really. Let's take a look though at the statistics, because I think where the kind of trepidation, where the fear comes from about tomorrow, and like you said, anyone else who we would be playing, even the likes of Manchester City, we'd have that real confidence after Wednesday. But looking at this record, Kev, it is not happy reading, mate.
No, it's really not. It's really not, and it's the kind of thing where you almost have to forget the record now, don't you? Because obviously Unai's here. But I mean, he said it the other day. But we beat them obviously in his first game. I think we've lost the 4 games since then because we lost them in the EFL
Carabao.
Cup. Not a bad performance. I think it was 4-2, wasn't it? I think it was early on in his tenure.
Yeah.
We lost them away, didn't we? At the end of the season where we finished 7th. I think it was 1-0 at their place. And then obviously last season, 3-2 at Old Trafford and then 2-1 late winner from McTominay. So, but hey, I don't really...
Well, these are the last 5 results that we've had against them in the Premier League. So, like you say, 2-1 defeat and a 3-2 defeat last season. 1-0, like you said, in that kind of towards the back end of the season, we finished 7th. 3-1 win, Unai Emery's first proper game. And then a 2-2 draw under Steven Gerrard. I think that was Coutinho, wasn't it, who came on and changed it.
Great game.
But then we look at the form, and Villa, 3 wins and a draw out of the last 5. Not lost in 6, obviously, if you include the Champions League wins as well. So kind of 5 wins from 6 games, which is really good form. Patchy, if you're being really kind to Manchester United. I mean, that's, 3 defeats, a 1 win and a draw, which is really kind of disappointing. Fair few goals conceded as well in that. 14th in the table, Kev, as it stands. I was really shocked to see that.
-3. I mean, it is. Well, look, obviously Leicester got a good win today. Takes them just a point behind. Everton got a draw. Everton are just 2 points behind Man United, and of course they've got a game in hand, but they could quite possibly lose that away at a high-flying Aston Villa. They're only 3 points ahead of Ipswich. Bournemouth, West Ham have had a terrible start, a point ahead of them at the moment. Forest are 2 points ahead of them. So yeah, it's but this is the thing we've got to understand. Just like we talk about, and I even hate myself for doing it, saying, "Oh yeah, but Man United, they've got the hoodoo on us." We've been reset now under Unai. We've been reset, but also Man United, big team. Man United always turn it around. We have to also just wake up and smell the coffee. Man United aren't what they used to be. Man United are an inconsistent team. They've been battered by so many teams over the last few years, and they've had some really bad defeats. Spurs, Brentford. They've lost 3-0 twice at Old Trafford in recent times. When would Man United ever lose a 2-goal lead?
No, and it's not an intimidating place. I mean, what strikes me here is 0.83 goals scored per match. So that they're averaging less than a goal a game at the moment. They concede. They don't concede many. 3 clean sheets as well. And that's not a bad number of chances, but I mean it's not the Man United of old, as you say. It's not a Man United team that strikes fear into any team. It's not a Man United who you're gonna say, yes, they've pulled them out of the shit every now and again, but it's not that mentality it's not the mentality monsters that they used to be, and that's like you said. We're a different animal now. Look, we're the team that comes back. We're the team that are 2-0 down and come back and win 3-2, or 1-0 down with 20 minutes to go and win 3-1. We're that team. It's not Man United anymore.
Yeah, and if we play, so when we play them tomorrow, if we win, we go 7 points clear of them after 7 games. It's also not like, I mean, look at their games this season. I think they beat Fulham, didn't they? Premier League start. I think Xerxes got a goal. Then they lost away at Brighton. So, not 2 horrendous games to start the season with. And then obviously they had Liverpool at home. Fine, but, tough team, but still a home game. Then they had Southampton. Then they had Palace. Then they had Spurs, and Spurs have not been in great form. Well, I know they won a few lately. But it's not like it's been Arsenal, Man City. It's not like they've played Liverpool, obviously a good team. Spurs a good team, but... they've played Palace, they've played Southampton, they've played Fulham. Not been a crazy difficult start.
Yeah.
This is just the Man United team now. And you know what? I actually think we should be talking about Man United tomorrow, a chance of beating us. Just like we could say Bournemouth if, Semenyo and all the players that they've got in their team that have been playing brilliant lately. Great against Southampton first half. If they turned up, they could beat us. Everton could beat us, couldn't they? If McNeil, Harrison, Calvert-Lewin. If Man United's players turn up on the day, then yeah, they could beat anybody probably. But as was proven in their cup performances in the last couple of years, but we are good enough with the squad we've got now to beat a lower team like Man United at home, and that's what we have to start talking about them. They're a lower team. They finished lower than us in the league last season, and they're lower than us in the league this season. So let's just call it for what it is. Not disdainful, not disrespectful. We'll respect the game. We'll take it seriously, but we're a better team than them, and we should win tomorrow. And I'll be saying that even if we were going away to Old Trafford.
Yeah. Bear in the Garden said we hadn't beaten Bayern for 42 years.
Almost as long as Man United.
CC said, God, those stats are atrocious. Emery will be very aware of them too. Scotty UK said, we've underachieved for way too long in finals and trophies when some right crap teams have won something. Yep, we have. Hopefully this season we're going to turn it around. Jacob said 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss for Villa this season. 3 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats for United. And Deontay said they're closer, United are, to the bottom 3 than the top 4. Rach said it's slightly too early to look at league positions, but I don't know, man. I think 6 games, 7 games. It's about time. Jarl in the chat. Good luck tomorrow. You might fire our manager if you win tomorrow.
I bet he'd be.
And that's the thing. Do you think that happens? Do you think that happens?
I think he's going to go either way. I think even if he wins, I think he'll go. I genuinely think the toxicity around the club now, in terms of what people are saying, and almost how much of a laughingstock Man United have become. And I don't mean that again in a disrespectful way. We grew up on an era of before we'd even turned teenagers, when they were winning everything. And even that, I remember winning the FA Cup in 90, the Cup Winners' Cup in 91. Mark Hughes scored a couple of great goals. A couple of FA Cups in the 80s when they were kind of flattering to deceive a little bit in the league, but, still winning things. A lot more success since we won the European Cup in 82, even domestically than we had. Yeah, we won a couple of League Cups, but including beating them in one of them. But they were just the dominant force. And even when they didn't always play brilliantly, you knew they'd come back from the depths in any game and likely to turn it around. And yet we're in a situation now where it's just a different Man United. And do you know what? I'm gonna say this now. Like, you know what? It's our time to have some fun, and you don't have a divine right for success forever. And I'm sure they'll come back because they're a massive club, huge revenues, and they'll turn it around. But again, someone's got to finish in the top 4. Not everybody can. And when you've got a Man City, a Man United, a Liverpool, an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a Spurs, an Aston Villa, you've got some big teams now who are decent, trying to vie for it. Someone's got to drop out. So, if Villa are going to get in those spaces, it means we've got to take advantage of other teams being weak. So, yeah, and you know what? They've made some bad decisions financially. They've made some terrible signings. I don't understand what it is about what they've done with their transfer policy, because you know what? For every Mainu they've got coming through the books, and every kind of great success they've had in recent years, there's so few and far between. And you can talk over and over again about whether it's an Anthony, whether it's a Casemiro, whether it's obviously just gone to Chelsea, Sancho. So many massive signings that you'd look at as a Villa fan and say they wouldn't get in our team. They wouldn't. Yeah. Some of them wouldn't get in our squad.
No, it just seems a bit of a mishmash. It seems a mishmash of sort of slightly past it legends, like i.e. Casemiro, Varane, those type of players, Ronaldo. and then young, who they've paid astronomical wages to, and then kind of younger players who are potentially up and coming but aren't the main up and coming players. Like, they're still overpaying for those up and coming players. Like, if we got Morgan Rogers, and yeah, it was a bit of a bizarre one for us, but we got him for 9 million from Middlesbrough because he fit a profile that Unai Emery wanted, and he knew he could make something out of that type of player. And we probably got him for, I don't know, 15, 20 grand a week, right? Man United wouldn't do that. They've got Xerxes for 30 odd million, and they're probably paying him 150 grand a week. And it's just like, where's the logic? Where's the kind of structure? Where's the strategy that you're going for? What are you actually going for? Are you actually going for slightly past it player, like slightly past it legends who have still got a little bit of left in the tank, and you're going to pay them a big money, or are you going to go for younger players who you want to be up and coming and kind of use Man United as the pinnacle of their career? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Well, if you
and
look
that's where I think they are.
If you look at what we've done, right, we've signed John Duran for, was it about 19 million with potential? And look at the impact he's had already in hardly starting games. Morgan Rogers, what was the figure of Morgan Rogers? 8 million maybe rising, is it?
8.5 rising, yeah.
So you're looking at, say, less than 30 million for those two. They spent 60.
Jaden Philogene.
Yeah, Philogene again, what peanuts really. They spent 65, 70 million, was it, on Højlund, who'd scored 9 goals for Atalanta, in 32 games. They spent, what did you say, 60 odd million on Xerxes, was it? 40 million, 50 million?
No, I don't think it's quite that much.
Okay, maybe 45, 50 million, right? And he scored 13 for Bologna. I mean, Man United are the team in recent years. You've seen
they signed that centre back from a French team, and he's not played this. He's got injured.
Played against Lille. Played for Lille. Didn't he? Lenny Yoro against us.
Lenny Yoro, that's it. 50 odd million he was. I mean, unfortunately, he's got injured, but yeah, maybe he's a massive talent to come through. But
18,
yeah, it just seems a bit of a mishmash. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't see what they've almost gone, right, we'll sign some players that you want, Eric, from your old Ajax days, and then we'll also sign all these players because someone else wants them. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Or we'll sign Mason Mount because he was at Chelsea. Like, it just seems mad.
Signing Casemiro, Mason Mount. I mean, even going back to the likes of a Schweinsteiger signing, which was a bit of a. He kind of feels like he's done in. And the thing that is crazy about it is the profile the Man United have had, even in recent seasons. There's players that other teams have signed that they could have got, would have gone to Man United. Players that are really, really high profile, talented ability that would have gone to Man United. And look at some of the signings like a Fulham have made. When
that's it. Brentford. I mean, they
Paulinia. Brian and Bremo. Like
this sums it up for you, mate. Jacob, McGinn, Kamara, Tielemans, 2.5 million.
Can we add Jacob Ramsey in that to keep it at 2.5 million?
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Aaron says, when the rich six monopoly F up and waste money, it's a leg up the ladder for us, may they keep making bad decisions for years to come while we close the gap. Absolutely. Christos says, when you pay 80 million for Anton, then you don't need to mention anything else.
Yeah.
Just a bit of a divert before we go into score predictions and to finish up the show. You did mention it before, the great news, and someone asked the question right at the start. I think it was Dicky, said, how great was it seeing photos of Mings and Kamara playing for the under-21s, and what a boost that is going to be after the international break to have those two back in the side.
I am absolutely over the moon with this news. We lack in defence the physicality of Mings, the ability to use him in the games where we need that kind of presence. And if he's going to come back, we've got to manage his minutes carefully. Obviously, you're going to be quite susceptible when you come back from will end up probably being a 14-month layoff for him, basically. And Kamara, who's just a fantastic midfielder and has already shown us, even though he's had a couple of injury issues, I think he came back strong. The Conference League qualifying season, certainly in the first half of last season, I thought he was excellent. The reason why Luiz looked so good was because of Kamara. Adding him to that midfield where we've already got Onana. I mean, salivate on this, Villa fans. Kamara coming into an option when you've already got Onana, Tielemans, Barkley, Rogers. I mean, wow, like we've got some fantastic options in the middle.
Ramsey.
Jacob Ramsey, I'm thinking more why, but yeah, Ramsey, Buendia, like it's just fantastic. You think about the combinations you could play there. Kamara and Onana, maybe like one game against maybe Barcelona in the semi-finals. He plays Kamara and Onana, like as a double pivot. But why not? I mean, it's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, it's fantastic, and we've seen already that substitutions have changed the games for us across this season. West Ham away, Wolves at home, Everton at home, Bayern Munich at home. Substitutions have been the key to our victories a lot this season. So, and that's what Unai Emery's wanted all all throughout his time here. You know, you saw him working with what he had last season, and towards the back end of last season, it was almost, working. It was trying to get into a position where you were literally swapping Diaby and Bailey, and that was it, or Tielemans and Louise. They were the only real substitutions he had. Whereas now he's looking like, he's bringing Maatsen on, he's bringing Barkley on, he's bringing Duran on, he's bringing Philogene on. He's got so many options now. He's bringing Buendia on. So many options now that he's got that, it's frightening. And he might get to that position where he's leaving big players out of the squad.
And imagine you're an opposition team. Villa are winning in the game or trying to come from behind, but winning in the game likely we are. And you look on the sideline and you've got John Duran, probably the number one striker now in terms of talk, maybe outside of Haaland in the Premier League. You've got maybe Tyrone Mings, you've got Boubacar Kamara, you've got Ian Maatsen, you've got players like Jacob Ramsey maybe on the bench. You sat there thinking, crikey. You talk about changing the game or keeping the game as it is if it suits us to keep that win. You look at all the other big teams, what they can do when they bring off the bench quality international players. That's us. Live in this world, Villa. This is the world we live in now, and embrace it. We just have to hope, if we can get Cash back and McGinn back as well. Like we're talking about these teams lately.
Oh yeah, you forgot McGinn in midfield.
Got McGinn totally in midfield. He's crazy, and
he was massively missed for us last week against Ipswich.
He was
a massive miss.
He was absolutely so. It's just wonderful. If we can keep on the right side of injury this season, I don't even think we've hit top form yet.
No, we haven't. Like I say, I mean, we've not had a great start to a game yet, other than the West Ham game. But then they pegged us back to 1-1. But we haven't gone, those blistering starts where we'd be 2-0 up inside sort of 15 minutes. We haven't really had one of them yet. It'd be brilliant to have that tomorrow. Another point Ronan's made there, the crowd tomorrow are going to be key too. We need a loaded Villa Park for 90 minutes. Allowed Villa Park, so I think he means. And that's exactly what Unai Emery said as well. His press conference said, we need Villa Park to be exactly the same as it was on Wednesday. And you know what? The crowd played such a huge part in that game on Wednesday, and they played a massive part against Wolves as well. Like I felt when I was at the game against Wolves, I felt that for the first kind of 60 minutes it was a bit quiet, and then something happened in the game. I can't remember what it was. It might have been when Bailey came on and I think he went round the outside.
Oh, was it? I was going to say, was it maybe the injury when Rodgers steamed in and their guy got injured?
Yeah, it might have been. There was there was a little moment in about 60 minutes in where the crowd just flipped, and then it was just raucous atmosphere for the rest of the game. And obviously for 90 minutes against Bayern Munich, it was exactly that. So they just need to be the Villa crowd just need to be the same tomorrow, because we can really make a massive impact on this team and basically being intimidating for the Man United players, which we don't say that very often, but really intimidate Manchester United.
Yeah, massive, isn't it? It's exciting. I just hope we can follow it on now, because we've got the international break coming up as well. You'd like to think they could put in say one last effort, like we're talking like it's April. It's only just turned October, but I just want to hope that we can put that kind of performance in. Then we've got the international break. We can nurse a few of those injuries back, and who knows, maybe back after that you've got the likes of Buendia ready to start games. Maybe if he doesn't start tomorrow, you've then got Kamara and Mings probably in contention for squads. So yeah, it's just fantastic. McGinn might be back. Cash, if he's not back tomorrow, will almost certainly be back. Bailey might be back. Frighteningly exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a few questions coming in about kind of players' injuries and potential future sales and stuff, but we'll go into them in the we've got international break fans forums and stuff, so we'll go into those questions in the fans forums, because I think they're really good questions to ask. Before we get score predictions, Aaron said, Villa squad depth and quality is very strong nowadays. We can be confident whoever our opponents might be. No fear, up the effing Villa. So, with that in mind, with that rousing speech from Aaron, that comment from Aaron in mind, Get your score predictions in, people, and I'll trouble you for yours in a second, Kev. Make sure you smash the like button, though, everyone. We have nearly 200 in the chat on X and on YouTube, which is fantastic. So on a Saturday night as well, when you could be out partying, you're here with us. You're here with us party boys talking Aston Villa. So make sure you like, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Help us on the road to 5,000 subscribers. We want as many people to join the Villa Park Pod family as possible. And keep your comments flying in. Get your score predictions in, please. We want to see how confident you are for tomorrow. PJJ says 4, maybe 5-1, which is absolutely brilliant. Deontay says Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 2. Michael says 5-0, Watkins hat-trick and Duran with 2. That is a big score. Jacob said 1-1 draw, Maatsen to score. Bear in the Garden said a clean sheet again, please. Lewis says 6-1 up the Villa. Bloody hell, that's some big scores here. Jarl, the Man U fan, says I can see either a 2-1 win or a 1-1 draw.
Who's the win? Who's the win?
Yes, who's the win? Who's the 2-1 win? Are you being confident to your team? Are you backing your team? CC said Villa to win. It's time up the Villa. Stephen says 3-1 Villa. Dicky says at least a league clean sheet. 3-0 Watkins 2 and Duran. Rachel said Villa 2-1 Villa, I really hope, and Jarl is saying Villa to win. So he's basically saying it's either a Villa win or a draw. So he's not confident in Man United at all. What are you saying, Kev? Score and scorers?
Just picture the post-match podcast where Man United do what they always do, and Casemiro gets one off his shin, and Fernandes, cheats like he always does for a penalty against us, and gets given, and we lose 2-0, and then we start saying, God, we were confident with our predictions, weren't we, in the pre-match. I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 3-0 tomorrow. 3-0, and I think it's going to be... I'm going to say that Dina's going to score.
Wow.
I'm going to say John Duran, and I'm going to say Morgan Rogers. There you go.
Nice.
Fancy Dean to get a free kick.
Yes. Yeah, well, was it Man United he scored the free kick against?
It was. Remember how disappointed he was because he just came off a sub, didn't he? When we got the opportunity. It was against Bayern, wasn't it? Was it against... Who is it where Buendia spooned it over the bar? Was that Ipswich?
Oh, Ipswich? Yeah.
Was it Ipswich? Yeah, it was Ipswich, wasn't it? Well, I knew recent game, my brain's fried. Yeah, you can see Dina was like this, almost to the bench. I bet that cost him a couple of grand. like why you brought me off for the free kick, because it was prime Dina position. When his first touch, he kicked it to Norwich, I think, nearly. So. Yeah,
it wasn't the best.
No.
Paul says 3-0 Konsa, Power and Tielemans. Juistas says, can we stop Rodgers from going to the under-21s? I hope so. It's ridiculous at this point. It's a joke. As for score... Yeah, hopefully. I'll go for a 1-0 win. Scotty says 3-0 for me. Ronan says 5-1 Villa, hat-trick incoming. Lewis said we're going to win the league. He is very positive. Very positive.
Someone's got to win the league, Richard.
I'm going to say 3-1 Villa. Watkins will score, Duran will score, and who else? Oh, Nana. I fancy Onana to get his... He hasn't scored at Villa Park yet, has he? So, yeah, I fancy Onana. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just keep predicting, like, zeros for us, as in to concede, because I think at some point in the league... I mean, it's a bigger question for everyone else. We're doing amazing. Do you think we'll keep a clean sheet in the league at any point this season? Because at the moment, it feels like we can't. So I just think if there's ever a time to do it, tomorrow, the next game is the one. I mean, they've obviously got the weapons, but
Yeah, this is the thing. Not many teams keep clean sheets. I mean, Arsenal couldn't keep a clean sheet today against Southampton. Man City couldn't keep a clean sheet against Fulham. I know Fulham are a decent side, but there's not many clean sheets not many teams sort of value that defence anymore as such. They push their fullbacks right up. They have it a lot where it's 1v1 at the back. So I don't know if... I think Emery's yes, I think he really does value his centre-backs and values that defending, but I do think he goes with the mentality of we'll score more goals than we'll score more goals than we concede. And I think he's, sometimes he's like, look, sometimes you have to take a bit of collateral damage by conceding a goal to score 2 or 3.
Well, he's definitely like that now. Now he doesn't even mind like just conceding goals, 1 or 2. He'll just come back from it now. So that's supreme confidence, isn't it?
Yeah. Chippy Bailey's confident 3-0 Villa boys all the way. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a massive game. I do feel confident for once going into a Manchester United game. I do really feel confident. I think they can't do anything but take inspiration from Wednesday night and take that into the Premier League. So, yes, I'm confident we will be doing a victorious match reaction tomorrow or Monday or whenever we do it. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel, everyone, for our instant reactions, for our full match reactions, and for all the shows that we've got next week. Obviously, fans forums. I've got Villa Academy coming on to give his next episode of Lions Den Latest to find out what's been happening with the Academy. So loads of shows to come up in the international break, and hopefully we go into the international break in the top 4, which would be amazing. Kev, great to have you back, mate. How good was it to be back on the pod after a few weeks off?
Fantastic. Great to get some love. At least I know there are some people in the world that like me, so that's obviously nice to see. And great to be on the back of a wonderful victory against Bayern Munich with the opportunity to be 2 points off the league leaders as well after we beat Man United and can sign Eric Ten Haag to a likely dismissal. Although part of me wants me to stay for as long as possible because it means they're likely to be behind us. So yeah, but anyway, the thing with change is that change could be good, couldn't it, as well? Exactly.
Well, stick with the channel because, like I say, we'll be reacting to all things Aston Villa after the Manchester United game over the next few days. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And hopefully we get the win tomorrow. It's such a big game. Come on, Villa. As always, though, remember, we'll follow the Villa.